Well, let's talk about why Fuzzy is not a very big fan of our lawyers, our firearm lawyers. They're doing battle, you know, one court thing, then another court thing, then another court thing, then another court thing. They don't go after the jugular vein of the whole damn smear. One way to kill off all those gun laws is to go by the Constitution. All they had to do was go by the preamble of the Bill of Rights, which states, Congress of the United States has begun and held in the city of New York on Wednesday, the 4th of March, 1789. The conventions of a number of the states, having at the time of adopting the Constitution, expressed a desire in order to prevent misconstruction, or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added. Now, declaratory, people, means it's designed to fix what was uncertain or doubtful. You want to make sure it was absolutely certain that Congress and the rest of the government would understand this. And what it means is they are constitutionally barred from infringing upon any of your rights. Get that through your head. Now, all of our lawyers, they go after all this other, oh yeah, we won this, we won that, we won this, we won that. Go for the jugular and end it. They don't want to lose their damn cash cow. It's like, oh, well, maybe the pharmacies may have a cure for cancer, but they ain't going to let it loose. No, right now they're making so much money at the hospitals and stuff with all this other crap, they don't want to turn it loose. Well, I've saved somebody because you're not done bleeding them dry from their wallet. Anyway, right there is the whole crutch of why they haven't gone after what they need to go after. We don't have to fight these people every damn day in court. It's a bunch of shit. Like I said, they don't want to lose their cash cow. And that pisses me off to no end. It really does. Not that they're not doing a good job. Don't let me sidetrack you in that way. They need to go after the jugular and end the war. They've been doing this since 1934. We were throwing all this money at the NRA, oh yeah, protect our rights, protect our rights. All that money down the drain. Now we're doing the same thing again. It's time to put an end to this damn manufactured chaos that the Democrats have been feeding you all these years. They are not going by the Constitution. Now I said this here, the conventions of a number of the states, having at the time of adopting the Constitution, expressed a desire in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of powers that further declaratory, which means to designed to fix what was uncertain or doubtful before they wrote the Constitution. And restrictive clauses should be added. That's why you have your amendments, people. You have rights. And Congress is not allowed to mess with your rights. The Second Amendment of our federal Constitution recognizes that this is a God-given right to keep and bear arms, and it's to be free from any interference whatsoever from the federal government. Accordingly, the federal government nowhere in the Constitution was granted authority to abridge, restrict, or infringe in any fashion whatsoever guns or ammunition. Thus, all restrictive laws made by Congress, all regulations made by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms are unconstitutional as they're outside the scope of powers that was granted to Congress and to the executive branch by our Constitution. Restriction of arms and ammunition is not one of the enumerated powers delegated to the Congress or to the executive branch. Here's something else, people. Get over here. Pull this out of the way a minute. Patrick Henry said, "The Constitution is not a document for the government to restrain the people. It is an instrument for the people to restrain the government." Let it sink in, people. It's not a document for the government to restrain the people. It is an instrument for the people to restrain the government. Talking about rights. Go up here. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and any statute to be valid must be in agreement. Is it impossible for a law that violates the Constitution to be valid? Any law that are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. Marbury versus Madison. Where rights are secured by the Constitution where rights are secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rulemaking or legislation which would arbitrate them. An unconstitutional act is not a law. It confers no rights, it imposes no duty, affords no protection, it creates no office, it is in legal contemplation as inoperable as it had never been passed. The general rule that an unconstitutional statute, though having the form and the name of law, is in reality no law. It is wholly void and ineffective for any purpose, and since the unconstitutional dates from the time of its enactment, not merely from the date of the decision, so branding it. No one is bound to obey an unconstitutional law, and no courts are bound to enforce it. Like I said, I understand the lawyers, but they need to stop this war. It's like every person in this country is in danger of peril due to the federal government sending their damn Gestapo after these people, and these people having their home ransacked, burned down, shot at, your wife and kids subject to terror. No. Put an end to it, guys. There are other forms of ways to make money. But for these people to say, "Oh well, you know what? Don't give me that. Get the job done." Now, all these things were ratified. The first 10 amendments were ratified effective December 15th, 1791. That's when our Constitution was adopted. So people, there you go. And that's my little rant against the doggone firearm lawyers that need to get to the bottom of things. This thing is going to court every day, and people are, they can't take it. Put an end to it. Go for the stranglehold. Like I said, accordingly, nowhere in the Constitution were they granted authority to abridge, restrict, or infringe in any fashion whatsoever guns or ammunition. Thus, all restrictive laws made by Congress, all regulations made by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms are unconstitutional as outside the scope of powers granted to the Congress and to the executive branch by our Constitution. Restriction of arms and ammunition is not one of the enumerated powers. If it's not listed in the Constitution, they don't have that power. But your rights are in there. Your constitutional rights are in there, and they are bound to go by that Constitution, or they're not following the law. They don't have any reason to throw you in jail for anything because they don't have that power. Okay, enough of that today. I'm tired of it. I'm just plain sick and tired. Like I said, it's not that they're not doing a good job, but they need to finish the job. Take that kill shot. All those laws from 1934 on, you know the 1968 laws and the Brady bills and domestic violence bills, all these things are null and void. Anything that has a firearm in it is null and void. They don't have that power. Go for it, guys. Show us you got some balls.